Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. My new weekly editor, Martin Creamer, joins me to unpack air pollution, platinum wage agreements, and South Africa's manganese resources. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Sasha.
Now, talk to us about the need for coal-burning power stations to minimize their emissions.
Yes, coal mining is often attacked, but the coal mining is just taking the mineral out of the ground. It doesn't involve itself in the burning of that. When it starts to burn, that's where the issues arise. And those who are burning it need to do something, because there's constantly international reports coming out about, the way coal affects Mother Earth. And it's not just the carbon dioxide. There are so many things that need to be dealt with around coal. And I think the latest report from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, heavily emphasizes again the SOx and the NOx, the sulfur dioxide, the nitrogen dioxide, and also three other issues that are health related. And they keep on harping back to how this can damage health. So I think it's in the burning of this coal that action must be taken, because it seems that the world is going to be burning coal. If you look at the projections, although efforts will be made to use less coal and more renewable energy, in 2030 it looks like that gap still won't be closed, and you're still having to be burning this coal. So it's the issue of how you burn it, and our Eskom and our Sasol need to really look at that. I'm sure there are ways of doing things that are not too expensive, although the expense is always a worry.
And improvements have been made in how platinum wage agreements are reached.
Yeah, I'm quite encouraged by the way the wage agreements went, and it shows a sort of a new collaboration atmosphere in South Africa, which is important. Of course, I'm still have my fingers crossed, because there's one, as far as I understand, still to come. But you can see that three major platinum mining companies reached 3-year agreements. So there's a nice 3-year agreement, which is always important. And then one of them, Royal Bafokeng Platinum, even reached a 5-year agreement. We need in South Africa to look at the national interest, because when you look at the state of the economy at the moment, you can't have vested interests pulling in all different directions. And I think the way they reached agreement on the platinum mines is encouraging, because it does come against the background of horrific, clashes that of the past. But perhaps we're pointing to a new atmosphere where, when the country really needs collaboration, we get that collaboration. And I hope it's sustainable, that going forward we have this.
And lastly, South Africa has an abundance of manganese resources that it needs to take advantage of.
Yes, we've got a wonderful quality of manganese. We've also got an abundance of manganese. But the reports coming through are that many of these companies are just selling at a loss. Now we have a situation where there are now more companies involved, and they are having to sustain themselves, and they're having to sell. And then there's also the issue of Transnet requiring a take or pay agreement. So whether you're going to sell this profitably or not, you've got to put it on that rower line and get it down to your market. So logistics play a very big role in this, because we are far from the ports. So looking at this national patrimony, are we getting enough out of this? It's wonderful to say we've got this wonderful manganese endowment, but if we, as a moderately economic country, are giving this to richer countries at their profit and our loss, it doesn't seem to make any sense. And perhaps that people need to look now as to how we can market this better. It's no good having a high volume, no value marketing proposition. South Africa is not going to benefit from that, and eventually, the mines will have to close, so jobs will go anyway. So one looks at perhaps some sort of collaborative effort, or how do the iron ore miners do it? How are they doing it in Australia, where although the price falls, it doesn't seem to fall to really unprofitable levels. Are their costs much lower? Should our costs be lower? Also, Brazil, the way it manages its iron ore, we don't see the same sort of situation in iron ore that is currently happening in manganese, where the price has just collapsed. And those who are having to sell it now are facing this constraint of, what do we do? Because we've got these agreements with the state Transnet. We have to send this out in certain volumes. And if you send that out in certain volumes, you've got to just take what the market is willing to pay on this. And if you're giving them more than they want at this point, they're going to pay you at a low rate. So perhaps some good thinking needs to be done around our manganese mining, which has never really had a big level of attention at Minerals Council South Africa level. It hasn't been a metal that has been focused upon by South Africa Inc. And perhaps time is now to do that.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
Great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on the local and global mining industries. And don't forget to listen to the audio version of our Mining Weekly daily email newsletter.